All right, welcome everyone to the May edition of the Dynamics 365 Partner Community Call. Today we're going to be discussing how to deliver a sizzling remote demo. Few housekeeping items. This meeting will be recorded. We will be able to listen to the recording again at the Event Builder site, probably sometime tomorrow. And we'll also post this to our Yammer community, a link to be able to get out to both the recording and then also the deck. So my name is Barb Barrowman. I'm going to be kicking us off here for the beginning of the session. And I have helping me today Karen Moen and Renato. And we're going to spend about half the time we're going to be talking about what is a sizzling demo. And then the second half of the time we're going to be talking about how can we deliver a sizzling demo remotely. So to get us started, we're going to kick us off with a survey. And we would like you guys to participate in that. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you guys should be seeing a survey question asking you how many of your demos you're delivering remotely. We want to get a feel from the audience. We're hearing from a lot of partners that we're delivering demos remotely now, and how can we do that effectively, and especially with the workers moving more remotely and companies trying to expand their geography, we're seeing a lot more of the remote demos. So I want to get a feel for you guys as attendees, what you see from that perspective, how many of your demos you're delivering remotely.
Well, Barb, we've gotten quite a few responses. So why don't I go ahead, let's do a refresh one more time. Thanks for everybody for responding. I'll go ahead and show the results so we can take a look at this. Okay, well, hopefully everyone can see the survey results and the percentages here. It looks like, if you look at the scales are certainly tipped in terms of folks delivering more demos remotely than in person. And if it's anything like what our team does, we're presenting remotely a lot. So understanding how to do that becomes more and more important.
Awesome. Thanks, Karen. Well, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you to walk us through what is a sizzling demo.
Okay, sounds great. So what is a sizzling demo? So, I think all of us have probably been to a presentation or demo that was so good that it really changed the way we think about things, or it's something that really sticks in our head. It's unforgettable. We want to tell everybody else about it. Maybe it kept us up at night. And the reason why we can't forget it is because the presentation or demo not only just touched our mind with information, but more than likely it touched our heart. So there's been research and stuff done about actually how our brain stores information, and actually our brain stores information. It connects the information to an emotion, and it stores information in our brain. And in order to remember that down the line, our brain first surfaces the emotion and then surfaces the information back to us. So driving emotion into things is very, very important. If you think about, a memorable movie that you've seen, a concert that you went to, maybe if you were married, or the birth of a child, all these things, you remember them so clearly. How can you remember those, but you don't remember, maybe what I ate for breakfast this morning? Well, the reason is because there's emotion tied to them. So when we think about emotion and a sizzling demo and making impact with our customers, it's not just enough anymore to show apps and features. We've all been in a demo where a presenter maybe moved from one feature to the next, and you come away from that not really remembering much, right? They didn't pull you in. And the way we pull people in and drive emotion is by telling stories. So we must be able to tell a story to kind of evoke emotion to help people remember information that we want to share with them. So this is what we call a sizzling demo. So as Barb said, today we're going to talk a little bit about what it is and how to develop a sizzling demo, and then Barb's going to talk about all the great ways doing that where you can engage your audience remotely. So there's kind of 3 steps here to the sizzling demo: preparing the environment, preparing the story, and then actually delivering. Now, this content is actually part of a 1-day workshop, and over the last 6 months, we delivered about 3 of these in different locations across the U.S. We hope to do more of this next year, where we'd actually deliver a face-to-face 1-day workshop. We're going to share a few tips on each of these steps. We don't have time to go into great depth, but keep your eyes out in our Yammer community for hopefully a workshop that might be delivered close to you, and you could come to see a full whole day workshop on the sizzling demo. So let's start with preparing the story, prepare the environment. What do we need to do? So there's actually, you can see 6 steps here. To prepare for your demo. So there's a lot of work that goes into actually preparing this. Because of our time constraints, we're just going to touch on the research component today. So the first thing that we need to do as part of research is understand our customers and what resources do we have available to us where we can better understand our customer. So first is the customer's website. Right? We can find a lot of information about the products and services that they're offering to their customers, but more importantly, what's their mission and vision for their business? So, what are they trying to do for their customers? And if we can connect that vision that our customer has to the solution we're providing to them in a demo, that is going to make great impact. So that is a key aspect. The second thing is analysts. So our customers expect us to know about their industry, right? We have to do some research. We need to make sure that we understand what trends might be impacting their industry. What's their competition doing? Our customers expect this. If we don't come knowing this, we might lose some credibility. And then the last piece, which is most often overlooked, is actually using social media to learn more about your customer. You can pick up a lot of comments and things that your customer's customer are saying about them. What is their voice of their customer? And if you can understand this and pull and tell your customer what their customers are telling about them, that's going to evoke emotion in there. All of us are passionate about the customers we serve, and the same goes for our customers. So if you can bring that voice of their customer in, that can help evoke that emotion within a sizzling demo. So that's kind of the first step of research. The next step is a discovery call, and it's very important that your customer is a partner with you, especially when you're doing a sizzling demo. A sizzling demo is probably targeted at a specific customer. You need to understand that customer's challenges and pain points and tailor that demo directly to them. Now, we all know there are other kinds of demos that you do, maybe for a larger audience and stuff. So maybe you're doing a little bit of different discovery if you're speaking to many different customers, but if it's a one-on-one situation, you can use this peel the onion technique as part of a discovery call to really uncover your customer's pain points. The first layer here is just understanding some of the facts about your customer. You're asking very simple kind of yes, no answers, like how many salespeople do they have? How many users do they have? How many customers? Important things to know about a Dynamics implementation and information you might use later when you build a business case. So this is really to get the conversation flowing. The next part here in layer 2 is understanding the current customer situation. So now you're asking open-ended questions. So what are the challenges with the customer's project? What would they like to change? So this layer is not going to really reveal the underlying reasons or problems the customer has, but it's more about the customer describing their situation today. And, you know, the customer may not even know what their root cause problems are, but as you start digging and understanding the situation, you can start help articulate maybe what the customer's challenges are back to them. So that with this layer, really, you want to get a great description of the current situation today and some ideas of the pain that your customer is experiencing. The last layer here with peel the onion is the most profound and really, really key. And you see here that the key thing, and you see it on the first question right there on your screen, is why. Why is the key question in order to get to your customer's true issues. So, and this is going to really reveal the underlying reasons why do they need to put a new solution in place. So by asking why, you kind of go from a description of the situation to understanding the underlying reasons. And there's a really great trick to asking why, and you want to ask the why question 3 times in a row. And let me give you an example here. So, why are your people not satisfied with the system? It's slow and cumbersome. Why is it slow and cumbersome? Well, it was old technology implemented 7 years ago. Why was it implemented then, and why have you not updated it? So you could see each of those 3 different questions, I'm asking why and going a little bit deeper. Just asking the first why question may not be enough to get to the root problems or challenges your customer has. So it's really key to kind of keep digging in with asking why question to get to that root problem. And that's what you want to focus on in your sizzling demo. You want to help you solve that key root problem. So another thing it's important to do here is to start articulating the vision to your customer in the meeting. And we can do this with by asking what if. So, you know, what if what if we were able to solve these challenges by implementing this system? What would that mean for your business? So start painting a vision, and then you're going to see if that resonates with the customer, and then you can take that into the demo that you do later on. And then the last piece, before you leave this discovery call, in order to do a really great sizzling demo, is if you can get sample screenshots and sample data from your customer, then you can personalize that data and make it their own. So when a customer sees themselves in the system, they make an emotional connection. So that's really, really important as the last piece of the discovery call that's part of this research. So what's next? So the next step is really preparing the story. So how do we go about doing that? Now, as we said before, it's really important to evoke emotion, and stories can do that. So you want to think about 50% of your presentation being story and 50% of it being information. So why storytelling? Why is this so important? You know, if you think about mankind and how people have communicated for centuries, you know, before we had the printed word, people found a way to pass information down through storytelling. You know, they built stories to invoke emotion with whoever was listening, so that they would remember the story and thus the information, and then pass that on from generation to generation. So you see here really storytelling is the most powerful way to put ideas into the world. So we need to wrap the information we want to share with our customer about our solution in a story. Why the information matters and what happens if it comes true. Those are really, really key pieces to building a sizzling demo. A lot of times the storytelling part is overlooked. We're so excited about feature functionality that we forget to tell a story. But it's been proven over and over again, you can wrap your solution in a story, your sales effectiveness is going to go up. So how do you do that, though? How do you build a story? What are the different pieces of it? You can see from the chart here, we've all read books, been to movies. We know that stories, they have an introduction, they maybe have chapters, and they have an ending. And you can see there's sort of this excitement over time graph that a lot of times a story will bring you up and down, right? There's dynamics of a performance, a movie or a song. It doesn't just keep going straight up in a linear fashion. It brings you up and then it brings you back down. And we see a gymnast here. We've all probably seen, gymnast performances. And if you think about the gentleman on the rings here, in this particular picture, he's in a static pose. So he's kind of brought us down. But then he's going to do some major flipping acrobatic move on the rings, and that's going to bring up our excitement, and then he's going to go back into maybe a handstand or some other static move. So during the gymnast performance, they bring us up and down, and bring that emotion. So you want to think about doing that within your presentations. You want to do an intro to grab people's attention, and then you want to bring them back down. And then you want to design a chapter that's talking about something within your solution, and you bring them up, and then you bring them back down. And you kind of continue this, and then you have, the climax here at the end, which is where you want to end it. So up and down, up and down. So you really want to kind of have a give and take style to your demos. And we can do that by building the chapters that you see here. So you can kind of build each chapter, and each chapter might address a particular challenge or pain point the customer has. Each of these chapters could be about 10 to 15 minutes, depending. And then each chapter builds up to the wow moment at the apex and then comes back down. And then you talk about the pain and you solve the pain with the wow moment, and then you come back down, and then you eventually end your story. So again, think about building this kind of up and down momentum as you structure your story, and then you can build your demo around that. A couple examples of how to do that and how to frame a chapter are using what we call the tell, show, tell method. So, and you don't want to generally have too many slides, right, in your demo. You want to have impactful slides like this. That's a picture. And it's based around a particular pain. So this is a scenario all of us can understand. I'm a sales manager. I get up every day. I pour my coffee. I need to understand, what's going on with my business. So my problem every morning is I don't understand what's going on with my business. So I use this first slide to tell, this is the challenge. Your sales managers don't understand their business. Then you go over and you demo all the cool functionality in Dynamics 365 that show you how a sales manager can look at dashboards and understand their business. Show how you can use collaboration with Office 365, with Dynamics 365. So you show all this cool stuff in the demo. Then you come back to the slide. This is what I showed you, and this is why it's important to you. So you tell them, you show them, and then you tell them and plant the value. So again, the pictures evoke emotion. You're building up and you're showing really cool stuff in the solution to a wow moment, and then you come back and you drive home. This is why it's important for your business. Here's another example of a tell, show, tell. So this is another scenario. So again, that first one could be chapter 1. The second one, maybe your customer has challenges with mobility. So, this scenario would be, I'm a salesperson, I'm in a taxi, I'm going to my customer meeting, but I have no idea what's happening with this customer. I can't get to any of the data on my customer. Wouldn't it be great if I could? Then you go to the demo and show all the great functionality with Dynamics, the mobile clients, that on their mobile phone, they could look into the system and see, oh, this customer opened a Severity 1 case last night, It's important for me to know that when I come into my customer meeting. So I can, show them all the great capabilities. Then you come back to the slide and say, hey, we showed you, the mobile capabilities and how it allows you to stay productive. It's simple and easy to deploy and can have great impact for your salespeople. So again, we told them it's a picture they can relate to. We showed them the capabilities, and then we came back back to the slide to tell them why it's important. So that's a way to kind of structure your chapters within your demo. So that's again about preparing the story. Now let's talk a little bit, touch a little bit on delivering. So do all of you know that the first 30 seconds of your demo are the most precious 30 seconds of the entire thing? So your customer will give you 30 seconds for free. They'll give you your attention, and you don't have to earn it. But after those 30 seconds, the customer will decide pretty quickly if they want to continue listening to you for another 30 minutes or if they're going to bring their phone out and start doing email. So you want to make sure that you don't waste this first 30 seconds and this gift for your customers. So one thing you want to do is don't make it about you, right? Don't just say your name and who you are. They probably already know this, right? And really, they don't really care as much about you versus they have problems that they need solved. So tell me how you can solve my problems. So instead of focusing on you, you need to grab their attention. And a few ways you could do that is make a bold claim. You could say something like, I'm here to keep you from going out of business in 3 years. If I heard that, I might perk up and give attention to whoever's talking in front of me. So make a bold claim. You could also, set some sort of mystery, present a problem. You could make them laugh. So you could say, they wanted to send you the best of the best today, but unfortunately Satya wasn't available, so you're stuck with me, right? Many ways to grab attention, and you need to do something that's authentic for you, but you need to grab attention in those 30 seconds. Don't waste that time. Once you've got their attention, you also need to make sure you get buy-in from the people who are in your audience. You need to set expectations for what you're going to show in the next, 30 to 60 minutes. So, one of the most important assets for all of us is our time. So it's important to tell them up front what you're going to be covering so that they can understand that this is going to be a valuable investment of their time. And then it's important to get buy-in. So you could say this by asking a quick question. You could say, this is what I'm going to present to you. Is that okay with everybody? Get nods, some shaking of the heads, and then, dive right in. So how do you grab people's attention? What would be a way to do this? Here's an example right here. So this could be your first 30 seconds. You put up this slide. You say, this is Lisa. Lisa has a problem. This is what she looks like every morning when she boots up her system and goes into your current CRM system. I think we need to help Lisa. And then you go from there. So grab them attention. You can use an impactful slide here with a bold statement. Again, it could be humor. It could be something else, but this is a way to grab attention within those first 30 seconds that are so critical. So, okay, we've got an idea of how to do chapters. We've kicked off our introduction, but what about the main story? What are the elements of the chapter, and how can we build that? So there's really kind of 3 building blocks to each of our chapters that will build up our story. So first of all, from a story perspective, you want to make it personal. It needs to be touching and emotional. And a way to do that and to be authentic is to bring kind of your own life and experience. So into the story, why are you standing in front of them telling them what you're telling them? So, create the story. It needs to be personal. Again, using the limbic system means you need to touch the heart and the mind. So again, our limbic system in our brain stores the emotion, and the information together. So we need to do those two things. But one key thing here is working with pain. You need to first work with the pain. So you don't want to give your solution right away. You want to first make your customer feel the pain of the challenges they're having today. What's their problem? What's going to happen if they don't solve it? Make sure that you deal with the pain in the story before you lead them to a solution. So this is all about building up to that wow moment. Once you've built up to it, you want to finish with that kind of that wow effect, the wow highlight. And one key thing, especially when you're demo, is that you want to show something and you want your participants to go, wow, that was cool, or wow, that was really easy, right? That's how to think about the wow moment. Another thing is when you're demoing is wow effects have very little clicking. Some of us, especially, we want to show all the features, functionality, but we need to realize when we're clicking all over the screen, we might be confusing people. So especially when you're delivering impact, you don't want to click around. You want to land on the wow effect, if that's a screen or functionality. You don't necessarily need to show someone how you got from A to B. This is not about training. It's about a sizzling demo to make impact. So they don't really necessarily care how you got there. So maybe you just flip from one tab in your browser to the other. But keep it simple, minimal clicking, and the wow effect needs to speak to the heart. And then once you've peaked that emotion, you want to accompany that with the business value message that speaks to the mind. So again, you anchor the emotion with the information so that they remember it. So what's a strong business value message? Well, the customer doesn't care as much about your solution as you do. They care about their pain and solving their problems. So make sure when you're creating your business value statements that it speaks to the customer needs. And that all goes back to your discovery meeting. And you peeled the onion and you asked the why questions and you got down to really what their pain points are. That's what you want to address in this. So you're helping solve the true pain of your customer with the functionality in your solution. Another very important thing here is when you're delivering the kind of the wow moment and the business value, they're very precious parts of your presentation because this is really where you're solving the problem. You want to be very deliberate about how you deliver them. So don't just hand them out like candy. You want to deliver the value message and frame it. So you could do that a couple of ways. You could do it with silence or by slowing down. What you want to do is make sure you get the attention of your audience and then deliver your value message. So very, very key to be very deliberate about how you do that. So all this is great, but what if you're remote? How can you engage people without actually seeing them? And that's what Barb is going to talk to us about next.
All right, thanks, Karen. That was great. So really we wanted to set the stage on what is a sizzling demo so you kind of get a feel for that. And now we want to move forward with how is that going to be different delivering that remote demo versus a face-to-face demo. So it's a little bit harder when you're delivering a remote demo to be able to get the eye of the audience or maybe read their body language. So the important thing is to engage your audience early, get them to be participating in the meeting, and do that often so that you're ensuring that you're keeping their attention. So how do we engage the audience? There's a couple of different tools that I'm going to talk about, and they are specific to Skype for Business for this presentation so that I can demo them for you. But these would be available in a lot of the different meeting tools that you guys can use for your remote demos. But the first one is annotations. And this is the ability to actually write on the PowerPoint yourself, or maybe use that laser pointer that Karen and I have been using throughout this presentation to kind of showcase this. But what you're going to be doing is you're going to be annotating on your actual PowerPoint itself. I have an example here of, in a slide you're asking a question and allowing the customers to actually mark up what features do they show in their demos, and they're putting in little blue check mark or green check marks or blue arrows. That is something that's going to engage the audience and have them participate. Now, the thing with annotations in Skype for Business is that is something that you have to be a presenter to be able to annotate. So that's probably something we're going to do in smaller demos that you have 5 to 6 different people in that, so you're not concerned with people taking over your presentation. So the big thing to note is if you want to use annotations, that everyone has to be set up as a presenter. The second thing with annotations that you need to know is that you need to actually be presenting the PowerPoint presentation. A lot of times when I did my Skype for Business, I would just share my desktop. I just felt that was easier in case I was flipping over to different things. But in order to have the annotation tool available to your attendees and to the presenters, you need to actually share that PowerPoint presentation. And we're going to be putting out a blog in a couple of weeks, an enablement blog that kind of walks through all of these tips and tricks on using some of these engagement tools, so keep your eyes open for that too. All right, the second tool is polls or surveys. So we started our meeting off today with trying to engage you guys with the survey to find out how many of you or what percentage of your demos are remote. That's certainly something very simple and easy to do within, I'm sure, any program. It's very easy for the attendees to just click on that dial or that little radio button and participate that. And it's a great way for you as an attendee, as the presenter, to just ensure you're on track with what the audience is looking for, and making sure that you get the information that you need about the audience to make sure your presentation is going to fit their needs. The third one is a whiteboard. What's nice about a whiteboard, different from the annotations, is that you don't have to be a presenter to participate in that. So if you do have a larger presentation audience, you could use a whiteboard to gather information from them. They would be able to type in some information that you are trying to gather from them. And the really nice thing about the whiteboards is that you can save that. So maybe you are asking the audience in the beginning, what is your biggest business challenge? And having them type that in, and then that's something that you could save out to OneNote or capture as the whiteboard, and then maybe on a follow-up meeting or in your proposal, you could include that and say, hey, here's what you guys typed in to our presentation the other day, that these are your business challenges and these are how we're going to help you to meet those business challenges with our solution. So whiteboards are another great way to gather information from your attendees and get them engaged. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of demonstrations here. I'm going to call on my moderators, Karen and Renato, to help me out here. But for this example, we could say, maybe we're doing a larger demonstration. We have people from all over the United States. So we could ask them to click on your little moderator tool or your little annotations tool, and I want you to put a green check mark in the state that you're located, so that we can get a feel for where everyone is in the audience today. So then, as you can see, the audience will be able to see all these different check marks coming up. And then maybe to add a little bit more, let's say grab the blue stamp where you want to vacation this summer, and put a blue stamp on by where you want to vacation this summer. So again, we're getting a little bit more audience participation on what they're looking at doing. And oh, someone got a little crazy and is actually really wants to circle that they're going to Florida for their vacation. So this annotation tool is really great. Again, you can keep this. You can save the PowerPoint with the annotation, so it is something that you can use for another meeting that you have with that customer. All right, so the next thing I'm going to show is, let's do a poll. I'm going to kind of walk you through a little bit, because you guys can't see this, what I'm doing within Skype for Business, and again, we'll follow up with our enablement blog. But you can just click on the monitor that hopefully you guys are familiar with in Skype for Business, and you're going to click on Manage Content. And I've already pre-created a poll. So then I just click on that I want to start sharing this poll with my audience. And now this poll has come up, and I can ask my audience to participate in it. And what is your favorite season? And then once we do that, we can show the results so that the audience can see what everyone is picking. And that's another key point, if you are doing a poll or a survey, is to make sure that you give that information back out to the audience. Everyone is always curious, what are other people choosing? Do they have the same issues as me? Do they have different issues that maybe I should keep an eye out for? So it's always a good best practice to make sure that you're sharing all the information that you're getting from that survey out to the audience. All right, and then the next thing I'm going to do is let's show a whiteboard. So again, on the screen, if you don't have it recreated yet, you could always just click on More, and that's where you're going to be able to start a whiteboard session or a poll. But I did go ahead and already create that. So now I'm going to go ahead and show my whiteboard. And again, this is something that customers could participate on even if they are just an attendee. So we now have the ability to gather some information from the audience on, for this question here, is what applications in Dynamics 365 do we demonstrate? And then again, the nice thing about the whiteboard is that we're able to save that off into OneNote, or we could save that off as a whiteboard and pull that back into any presentations that we do or anything else that we deliver to that customer, because these are things that they have given to you, and this is really good information to share with them. Excellent. So thanks, Karen and Renato, for participating and helping me out. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go back into my PowerPoint. All right, the biggest thing is if you are having your customers participate in there by maybe using that annotation or typing on the whiteboard, you need to make sure you tell them how to participate and show them. So you need to walk them through, you know, there's a little pen icon on the top of your screen. You need to click on that, and then you'll see the list of all the different tools. The A would allow you to type if you clicked on that. The green check mark, if you click on that, you'll see that there's some options there. Just make sure that you educate them on how to participate, because if you don't show them how to participate, or if they're unable to participate, that's going to alienate them and give them all the more reason to start looking at their cell phone and checking out those emails or social media. So make sure that you show them how to participate so that they're able to follow along and actually give you that feedback that you're looking for. All right, so let's walk through a couple of other engagement options besides the tools that we talked about that I think you could utilize to get that face-to-face interaction with them that maybe you miss if you're not on site. The first is a camera. So certainly something that everyone likes to know who's doing their presentation. So you could certainly have your camera turned on maybe when people are starting to enter in the meeting, when you're doing your quick introductions. If you aren't comfortable with that, maybe you turn it off when you actually go into your presentation or your demo. But that camera is a really good way to connect with your audience. Videos, I don't recommend using videos inside of that remote demonstration. Just too many things could go wrong with the video not starting, or there's no audio, or it's laggy because you don't have a good internet connection. So if you are going to use a video, I'd recommend putting a link to it in the chat window. If there's a specific video that you absolutely want to show, maybe it's a customer's testimonial that you want to see this other customer see, then put it as a link in the instant messaging window or the chat window and allow the customer to go out and view that. And then there's not going to be any concerns with having issues with watching that video. You could certainly do this for like a virtual training too. If you do have the attendees go out and watch a video, just make sure you put another slide in your deck that says what's happening. We're watching a video now, here's the link, come back at 10:45. If someone maybe stepped away from their machine and grabbed a coffee and they come back and there's silence, that's when everyone starts freaking out and not knowing what's happening, and then they're typing into the moderator window, I lost audio, what's happening? So just make sure if there is silence in your presentation that you have a screen up telling the attendees what's happening. So you can do that same concept with links or blogs. Maybe there's a great case study that relates to the same customer industry, and you could put that in the instant message window, and that would be something that the customer can go out and look at after your demonstration, but another way to interact with them. And we always want to have lots of pictures. The saying says a picture is worth 1,000 words, and it really helps you to get into that storytelling mode that Karen talked about. And I grabbed the picture from one of her slides because you can see here that coffee cup and that newspaper that just immediately in your mind says, oh, this is a person getting started for their day, even without having any of that text in there, just because of how we have grown up. And I actually don't even drink coffee in the morning, but when I look at this picture, it immediately to me says this person is getting ready for their day, because my parents used to drink coffee in the morning. It's just kind of something that is going to evoke a certain story. So we highly recommend lots of pictures. And then the building of slides. So Karen and I were doing this today throughout the presentation. You want to keep the audience interested and watching, and what is that next bullet point going to be that they're going to put up there. So by using the building of the slides, it really keeps the audience watching what you're doing and listening and finding out what is that next statement that you're going to say. All right, so what are the considerations for a remote demo? We've talked about that, you know, from a face-to-face perspective, how what a sizzling demo is and pulling in that story. But the biggest consideration for a remote demo is really that interaction with the audience. Since you don't have that face-to-face and being able to get their eyes so that you know they're listening or check out their body language, it's really important to actually have engagement with the audience throughout your demo. We probably recommend 5 to 6 engagements with the audience in an hour demonstration. And the best way to do that is to actually create a timeline of that engagement. Put together a spreadsheet that shows when is the interaction going to occur. It's going to occur on slide 1. And what is it? It's going to be a survey. And Karen's responsible for putting that survey out there so that everyone can respond to it. And then on slide 5, when we're 10 minutes in, we're going to do a poll, and Renato's responsible for the poll. And then we're going to put this link to this case study that relates to their customer industry. So as long as you are putting this together, it's kind of like your demonstration. You want to map out what you're doing with your demonstration. For a remote demo, you need to map out what your interactions are going to be with your customer. You also have to have a moderator. We are always in our our community calls that we have multiple people on so that we can be moderators and help answer those questions, especially in a remote scenario where you have a customer that might have audio or video issues. That's something that you as the presenter don't want to have to be dealing with. If you have to take time out to deal with that, that's the perfect opportunity for everyone else that's hearing everything to just check out and go grab that phone and check their emails or look at their social media. So you want to make sure that someone else is going to be available to you to kind of help troubleshoot those, and they are also going to help with those interactions, putting in those surveys and posting the links to the information you want to get out to that customer. They're also going to be able to watch the video and audio and ensure that your video is, your screen is still showing. If you switched over to your demo tenant, that you are now seeing that and the audience is seeing that too. So you need someone behind the scenes to really help you out and ensure that you can stay focused completely on just doing your presentation. And you're probably going to have to learn some new technology. So if you're getting ready for a remote demo and you want to incorporate some of the things that we talked about today, it might be a little bit of extra training that you have to go through to learn how to do that. If you've attended our community calls before, you'll notice that we haven't had any polls or any surveys because we hadn't taken the time to learn how to do that in the platform that we use, Event Builder. So that was something that when we were preparing for this presentation for you guys, that we had to go out and learn how to do that. The same thing with doing the polls and the surveys and the whiteboards inside of Skype for Business. I needed to figure out how to do that and how is it going to display. Do I want to have one created so I can just pull it up, or do I create one from scratch? You know, what do I think is going to work best from a flow perspective? As I'm demonstrating that for you guys. So just know that you might have to learn something new. You might need some extra time to bring that up in learning how to do that before you actually present your demonstration. All right, backup and redundancy. What can we do to ensure that we're not pulling out our hair when we're getting ready to present our demo and something goes wrong? What can we do to ensure that we're going to be happy and excited and say, yeah, that presentation went really well, even though it was remotely? So you need to have a backup internet connection, even if it's just going to be your cell phone and using your data plan or a MiFi device. Make sure that you have a plan in place if something bad happens to your internet or you don't have that internet connectivity that you were expecting to have in that area. Have multiple headsets. We highly recommend using headsets when you're doing a presentation rather than using the speaker through your PC. Helps cut out some of that background noise, but everyone likes to have the new wireless or Bluetooth headsets, which require batteries. So you have to be cautious that if you have a headset, that you have a spare that's going to be available to use if your battery were to die when you're getting ready to start your presentation or in the middle of it, so that you're very easily able to switch over and hopefully it doesn't show any sort of slow down in your presentation. The use of multiple monitors is really helpful, especially in a demonstration, because you can have your demo tenant and what you're showing to your customer up on the one screen, and on that second screen, then you have that list of all the steps that you're going to do in your demo. So you're able to follow along with what you want to show the customer on the one side, and then actually do it on your second monitor. So very helpful. And then this is the same for if you're doing a face-to-face or not, but you want to make sure that you're going to have some sort of a backup if your demo isn't working, you're not able to get your demo tenant. So do screenshots of your demo or maybe a click-through demo that you can jump to if for some reason your live demo isn't working well for you. All right, so some final tips and tricks for a remote presentation, and a lot of these are going to be the same for a face-to-face one, but the first is practice, practice, practice. You want to have a very smooth demo and presentation. You don't want to have a lot of clicks like Karen had mentioned before, and the best way to ensure that you're getting that business value out to the customers is to make sure that you practice it, and you are making sure that everything that you want to say is coming out of your mouth, you are hitting your value points, and everything comes out very smoothly. It's really effective to use the name of the customer in your demo when you're doing your storytelling. As Karen had mentioned, maybe that first chapter in your book is about the sales manager, and maybe Bill is the sales manager in your customer. So you can say Bill's name when you are talking about that sales manager. Anytime anyone hears their name in a meeting or in a presentation, it just causes them to perk up and listen back in if they maybe weren't listening, and it really shows that you understand their role if you are relating to them and what their position is. Karen mentioned this one also, but tabs for your demo. We don't want to see a lot of clicking, especially in a remote demo. So if it takes 6 clicks to get from A to B, maybe you show A on one tab, and then on B, that all those 6 clicks have already been accomplished, and then you're right on B, and you're just tabbing over to that next one. So it's very clean and smooth on, and the customer gets the visual of what you want to show them rather than getting confused on how many clicks it took for you to get there. Make sure you watch your pauses. Pauses can be a very effective speaking tool, but you want to make sure that, especially in a remote demo, that you don't have too long of pauses. The minute you have more than 3 or 5 seconds of silence, the moderators are going to start to see all the IMs in there. I've lost audio, is she still speaking? So you want to make sure that you don't have too long of a pause in a remote demo, because that is going to be the first thing they're going to think of is that they've lost their audio, and then they're going to start focusing on trying to get it back rather than focusing on your presentation. You want to make sure you connect to your session 30 minutes prior. We do this for all of our community events, at least coming in 30 minutes prior, because there's a lot of things that you need to do. You need to make sure you upload your slides, and you want to make sure that you're connecting to your demo tenant, opening everything up, logging in so you don't have to log in again, and getting all those demo tabs set up for you. You also want to make sure you test your audio and ensure that everything is well. If you were going to be using those surveys or those whiteboards, that's also something that you would create in that 30-minute session ahead of time so that you can just show that to the customer rather than creating it then if that's what you want to accomplish. So a lot of things that you want to do. And having that 30 minutes, if you do run into any issues, that gives you time to take care of it before the event starts. And last, make sure you record your session and listen to it. I know everyone hates doing this. I hate listening to myself on recordings, but it is very important for me to actually do this, record it, listen to myself, try and get as many ums out of there as possible, make sure my pauses aren't too long, make sure that value statements are top of mind, that they're very emphasized, and the best way to determine if you're doing that is to actually record your session and listen to it. That goes under the practice, practice, practice. Record it, listen to it, make changes to it, practice it again. That is the best way to have that really strong presentation that's going to keep that customer engaged throughout your session. All right, so that's it for our session today. I do want to draw your attention to what we're going to be doing in our June community call. That'll be on Tuesday, June 13th, 11 a.m. Central again. We're going to be hopefully having a guest speaker from LinkedIn come in and talk about the integration between Sales Navigator and the Dynamics 365 Sales app. So hopefully that's something that you guys are interested in, and you can join us back here on June 13th to listen to that. And we also want to get some feedback on what you thought of today's call. So Karen's going to put another survey in the window, a couple of questions, and we're just very interested in your feedback. What did you think about today's call, this topic, and any information? Do you think that there were a couple of nuggets that you got out of this that is going to allow you to present a more robust and more engaging demo as you move forward? So we'll give you a second here to answer those 2 survey questions. And then the next thing that we'll move on to, Microsoft's fiscal year end is in June, so June 30th, so about 6 more weeks yet. So you guys are probably under a lot of pressure too to sell as much as you can. But what we're doing is we're starting to do planning for fiscal year 18. So we have just a one question that's a text box to open that up and say, what would you like to see for our community calls for next year? What is going to be most important to you to help you build your business and increase the Dynamics 365 sales from your perspective? If you don't have some thoughts today, we're also going to put this on our Yammer community. We've had just incredible engagement with our Yammer community. We're over 1,000 partners are signed up for our Yammer community, which is incredible. And thank you guys for signing up for that and participating on the Yammer community. We have one of the highest participation rates of any of the groups. And we want to make sure that we continue to build that program up for you guys. So we'll put these same kind of questions on Yammer, and please take some time to let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to see more of for fiscal year 18 as we're planning, so we continue to grow and help support you guys as partners. And Karen, are we getting some responses in our survey?
Lots of good responses. So thanks,
awesome.
Everybody.
All right. Well, thank you guys again. Again, we're going to be having our call in June. We will be taking the month of July off from a community call perspective, and hopefully you guys will be down at Inspire in Washington, D.C. for July. If so, all of us will be down there. Let us know. Drop us a note. We'd love to get together. We're going to try and set up a little time for anybody in the community that wants to drop by in the lounge to meet with us. But other than that, I think we are wrapped for today. So everyone, thank you again for your time and attention. Have a good rest of the day, and I look forward to hopefully talking to you guys again in June.